What's up, everybody? Welcome to Queer Girl Straight Skates. Today I'm going to be telling you what to do while you're waiting for your roller skates to come in the mail. I suck at this. Okay. So you got roller skates and they're coming in the mail, and that's super exciting. But now is the time to check. Do you also have gear coming in the mail? If you do not have gear, now is the time to order it. If you are a beginner roller skater, you most definitely want gear to protect yourself. I would recommend at least getting knee pads, wrist guards, and a helmet. The next thing that you're gonna want to start practicing before you get your roller skates in the mail is you're gonna wanna start working on your balance. Now, balance is one of the most important things for roller skating. Imagine just walking down the street but then having 8 wheels on your feet. It's much more difficult. You have to actually make sure that you have a center of gravity and that you're able to balance well. So you can practice balancing before your skates ever come in the mail, and there's a bunch of different ways to do this. One way that you can practice that I really enjoy practicing on my balance is by getting a balance board. I got this balance board off of Amazon. I think it was less than 30 bucks. It was like 20 something bucks. I'll put a link in the description below that you can find it. And it works really well. I was honestly worried because if you look at it, like it has a really small ball on the bottom, and I was worried that it wouldn't hold my weight or something, but that is not the case. It holds my weight, it holds Shov's weight, it's totally good. So how it works is the ball goes on the ground and then the board is on top of it, and then you stand on the board. So one way that you can do it is by using both feet. So you start with one foot on the board and then you put the other foot on, and then you kind of have to balance. Kind of. You do. You have to balance. And I suck at it. Okay. The more you bend your knees, the easier this is. One way to get your balance is by picking a spot on the wall and spotting. And that just means that you're picking a location and you are focusing on that specific location on the wall, or a spot on the wall, and that's going to help you to maintain your balance. Right now, I'm not spotting because I'm making a video. Also, if you are going to start skating, which I'm assuming because you're watching this video, you're planning on it, you are going to have to learn how to balance on one foot. So many of the different parts of roller skating involve balancing on one foot, whether it is your striding, which is basic skating forwards, whether it's spinning, whether it is doing transitions or different stops, you're going to have to balance on one foot. So you can also do this on this balance board. So you're gonna step in the middle of the balance board, and then you're gonna try and balance with one foot. If you get confident just like balancing on one foot on this balance board, you could like do different moves like picking your foot up, or like bending down and then getting up, which I'm really bad at, but you could get good at. So one thing that will really help with skating is by practicing this. Killed it.
Because that is imitating striding.
So if you're like, the balance board, that's way too much for me, kick it to the side and just practice on your 2 feet first. So if you are not good at balancing on one foot on stable ground, that is the place that you should start before you start balancing on a balance board. So you can get on one foot anywhere, in your living room, outside, in the bathroom, in your bedroom, and you'll practice balancing on that one foot, and then you can practice like distracting yourself, or like pointing at things, or like noticing something, and then trying to like stay stable on that leg.
Wow, how does she do it?
How does she do it? And then you're gonna try it the other leg. You're like, I'm cool here. What if I like raise up on my toes? What if I bend my knees? What if I like look around really fast? What if I close my eyes? Closing your eyes is surprisingly difficult while you're balancing, and so when you practice closing your eyes while doing any balancing things, then it's going to enhance your sense of balance.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you balance on 2 feet?
What do you, what?
You broke her. Like,
You broke her. What do you mean, like, broke her? No, like, I just stand. What do you mean? Like, oh, I hold in my core?
I mean, that's really
Are you-
impressive. Thank you. I just struggle standing on both my feet.
Is that what you were saying? Like, how do I stand up? When you are trying to balance, it's really important to know where that balance comes from. And that balance comes from holding your core tight. If you don't know where your core is somewhere in the middle of your body right here, underneath your layer of enjoyable squish. And you're gonna tighten in that tummy and tighten in and think about like a string holding you up so that you have a good posture. So think about like a string going from your belly button to the top of your head. And so when you hold your body like that and then you squeeze your core, that's what's gonna help you get that balance way better. Wow, when I followed my own advice, I got way better at balancing.
Yep, you did.
Sick. The next thing that we're gonna talk about is stretching. Now, it's very important that you stretch. And why should you stretch? Well, because your body is about to start using a bunch of muscles that it doesn't realize that it exists. So, very important thing to start stretching is your hip flexors. You're gonna wanna stretch your hip flexors because roller skating will ask you to kind of separate out your hips in a way that you don't really do on a normal basis. So the more you stretch ahead of time before learning how to roller skate, the easier this is going to be on your actual body. So now that you've started stretching out your hip flexors, you also wanna start stretching out your calves. When you stretch out your calves, you're getting them used to kind of like moving around, you're waking them up, you're reminding them that they exist and they're important. They're gonna be extra important when you get your roller skates. So you're gonna start doing that. And then another thing that you need to stretch or like start doing is rolling out your ankles. So you should just take your ankles and be like, I'm gonna roll you in some circles. And then you're gonna be like, I should roll you in some circles in the other direction. And you should do that every day. You should do that before you start skating. This will help strengthen your ankle mobility. And the other foot. And then like this. Bring it around town. Okay, let me show you some hip flexor and calf exercises, stretches. Whee! So here's a really great hip flexor stretch. Sorry about this view. So you spread your legs out and you put your toes facing outward and then you go like this. Oh, that feels so good. And you put your hands on your knees and you kind of push out on your knees a little bit, obviously not so much that it causes pain. And then you can also kind of stretch out your shoulders and back a little bit while you're doing this. This is my favorite thing to do before skating. I do this before skating in any roller derby environment whatsoever. And also it's just very, very helpful if you're ever trying to do different tricks or even just learning basic roller skating. So you can do this. You can also like move from the right to the left, and all of that is stretching out your hip flexors right here. Another hip flexor move, it's my girlfriend's favorite because she gets to look at my butt, is this one where you're kind of in like a frog / stripper kind of situation. And then you will go to the forward and you just lean down and you just kind of lay there and let gravity do its work on your hip flexors. You can lay like this. You can also, once you're like, okay, I feel like I've gotten a good stretch there, you can also pull it back. Oh yeah, that feels really nice. And push it back this way.
That's what she said.
And then you can go back forward again. And so doing that will really help stretch out your hip flexors, and that'll put you in a really great position for roller skating. Yeah, so you're gonna put your ankles down on the ground and then you'll put your toes against the wall and then you'll press down, and that should give you a really good stretch in your calf area. And you do that on either side. And just do that for as long as you need to. The next is another calf stretch. And you need something to have and to hold. Usually I would use shove, but she's recording for me. So I'm gonna use this broom to have and to hold. And then you'll stand on the edge of the ledge, whatever that is, whether it is a curb or a little step. And then you are just gonna let your ankles, kind of your heels, hang over the side, and that's gonna stretch out your calves. And then if you have something, again, to hold, that's gonna help you balance out, because if you're not holding on to anything, it's like, whoa, like how do you stand? But if you have something to hold on to, it's very, very helpful. And that stretches you out. And you can go up, and then you can go back down. And you can kind of like stretch out a little bit. And the lower you go with the heels, the more you are going to stretch. The next thing that you should do is you should start building up your strength. And you can build up your strength by doing exercises. So what you may not realize is that roller skating really is a sport. It requires a lot of physical ability, and by that I mean that it's gonna be a little bit hard on your body at first. So the more you exercise ahead of time, the better off you're gonna be. Not gonna lie, I did not do this. I joined roller derby and went from sitting on the couch to roller skating, and my body hurt a lot because of it. So if you can avoid the pitfalls that I fell into, then your body will hurt less than mine did. So one thing that you can do is squats. Doing squats is super, super helpful for roller skating. A squat looks like this. You separate your feet, and then I like putting my hands out because it balances me. And then you pretend like you're sitting in a chair, and then you stand back up. And then you repeat it. Looking back.
Sparkle booty.
That is a squat. You should do a bunch of these. Another exercise that you can do to help you prepare for roller skating is wall sits. Now, wall sits suck, but they are so good for your core, they're really good for your legs, and they really help prepare you for all of the bending down and like bending those knees that you're gonna have to do when you start learning how to roller skate. We learned this thing in roller skating called low, not ho, and doing a wall sit will help you be more of a low and less of a ho. No offense to hoes, I love hoes.
I was gonna say, also, we stand a hoe.
We stand a hoe. We don't stand hoe stance while learning how to roller skate. Those are just a couple of the exercises that you can do in order to prepare yourself for when your skates come in the mail. I'll put a really good yoga for skaters link that I found by Yoga with Adrienne, and I'll put that down in the description below. Doing that will also combine all of the things we've kind of talked about so far. It helps you with stretching, balance, and building up your strength. The next thing that you can do is you can find all of the beginner tutorials that there are out there, which there are so many. There are a bunch on my channel that I'll hook in the description bar, and there's also a bunch on other roller skating channels and on Instagram and other social media platforms. You should find all the beginner tutorials and watch all of them. Next, it's really important that you find your own community within the roller skating community. So find the beginners that are out there that are also waiting for their skates. Make friends with them, talk to them about what you're excited about, and then you can grow together. For me, I was able to find this community of beginner skaters on Instagram, and talking with other skaters who are also learning at the same time as I was incredibly helpful for me. And while you're waiting for your skates to come in, you can talk to each other about all the exciting things that you're gonna learn how to do once you get roller skates. Finally, and might I argue most importantly, make sure that you have an outfit picked out to perfectly match your new pair of roller skates. Have that outfit so that as soon as your roller skates come in, you can put on that outfit, rock your new roller skates, be so cute, and feel yourself 100% while you go out and you practice roller skating for the first time. Now, I know that it is hard to wait to get your roller skates in the mail, and I know that the wait is long and it's going to be difficult, but you can do it. And if you follow all of these things that I have given you to do, you are going to be way more prepared than you are going to be before when you get those roller skates in the mail. I hope that you enjoy roller skating like 100 million times % like I do. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm pretty sure that I have a new thing called a Patreon that just went up this week. I'm super excited for you to check it out. And as always, cheers to the queers!
Woo! I'm gonna drop it on his face now.
I'm fine. Okay, so you're probably gonna fall a lot and you'll get used to it. Don't worry about it, you're gonna be just fine. I'm fine, don't worry about me.